Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we focus on delivering honest, research-backed health information specifically for adults over 60 and the families who love them. Now, today's topic is one that surprises almost everyone who hears it. We're going to talk about how certain so-called healthy diets and healthy foods may actually be increasing your risk of stroke. And I want to be very clear right from the start. I'm not telling you to stop eating healthy. That's not the message here at all. The message is that what many people believe is healthy and what is actually healthy are sometimes two very different things. And when it comes to stroke, which is the fifth leading cause of death in the United States and one of the top causes of long-term disability in seniors, getting your diet right isn't just important. It's critical. Every 40 seconds, someone in America has a stroke. Every 3.5 minutes, someone dies from one. And here's the part that doesn't get talked about enough. Nearly 80% of strokes are preventable. Diet plays a massive role in that prevention. But it has to be the right diet, understood in the right way. So let's pull back the curtain. Let's look at what experts have discovered about the hidden stroke risks lurking in diets that most people consider perfectly healthy. Let's start with one of the biggest dietary myths that has influenced an entire generation: the low-fat diet. For decades, starting back in the 1980s, Americans were told that fat was the enemy. Cut the fat and you'll be healthier. So millions of people, many of you watching this right now, spent years choosing low-fat yogurt, low-fat salad dressings, low-fat cookies, and low-fat frozen meals. You thought you were making the right choice. The packaging told you so. Your doctor might have even recommended it. But here's what happened behind the scenes. When food manufacturers removed fat from their products, the food tasted terrible. So what did they do? They replaced the fat with sugar. Lots and lots of sugar. And in many cases, refined carbohydrates and artificial additives. So that low-fat blueberry muffin you've been eating for breakfast? It might contain more sugar than a candy bar. And here's where it connects to stroke. Research published in the British Medical Journal found that high intake of added sugars is significantly associated with increased risk of stroke. Sugar drives up inflammation in your blood vessels. It contributes to high blood pressure. It promotes insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. All of these are major, well-established stroke risk factors. So for years, people avoided healthy fats, the kind found in avocados, olive oil, nuts, and fatty fish, fats that actually protect your brain and blood vessels, and replace them with sugar-laden alternatives that were quietly doing damage. If you've been following a strict low-fat diet for years, thinking it was protecting your heart and brain, I need you to hear this. Healthy fats are not your enemy. Sugar hiding in so-called health foods very well might be. Now here's another one that catches people completely off guard. Sodium. You probably already know that too much salt is bad for blood pressure, and high blood pressure is the single biggest risk factor for stroke. So maybe you've stopped adding salt to your food. Maybe you've put the salt shaker away entirely. Good for you. But here's the problem. The salt shaker accounts for only about 11% of the sodium most Americans consume. The vast majority of sodium, we're talking nearly 75%, comes from packaged and processed foods. And many of those foods are marketed as healthy. Let me give you some examples that might shock you. Canned vegetable soup. You buy it because it's vegetables, right? One can of a popular brand can contain over 800 milligrams of sodium. Some contain over 1,000. That's nearly half of the recommended daily limit for someone over 60, which the American Heart Association says should be no more than 1,500 milligrams. Whole wheat bread. 2 slices of many commercial whole wheat breads contain between 250 and 400 milligrams of sodium. You haven't even added anything to the sandwich yet. Cottage cheese. Often recommended as a high-protein, low-fat snack. 1 cup can contain over 700 milligrams of sodium. Veggie burgers. Some popular brands contain over 400 milligrams of sodium in a single patty. Tomato sauce from a jar. A half-cup serving can contain over 500 milligrams of sodium. Do you see the pattern here? You could eat what looks like a perfectly healthy diet, whole grains, vegetables, lean proteins, and still be consuming dangerous levels of sodium without ever touching a salt shaker. And for seniors, this is especially dangerous because as we age, our blood vessels become less flexible. They're more sensitive to the blood pressure raising effects of sodium. Studies from the National Institute on Aging have confirmed that sodium sensitivity increases significantly after age 60. So the practical tip here is simple but powerful. Read your labels. Look specifically at the sodium content per serving. And be aware that many containers hold 2 or even 3 servings, not 1. That number on the label? You might need to double or triple it to know what you're actually consuming. Alright, let's talk about something that's going to surprise a lot of you. Fruit juice. Now, I can already hear some of you saying, but it's natural. It comes from fruit. How can it be bad? And you're partially right. Whole fruit is wonderful. Eating an orange, an apple, or a handful of blueberries gives you fiber, vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. The fiber slows down the absorption of the natural sugars, so your blood sugar rises gently and gradually. But fruit juice? That's a completely different story. When you juice a fruit, you strip away the fiber and concentrate the sugar. 1 glass of orange juice contains the sugar from roughly 4 to 6 oranges. You'd probably never sit down and eat 6 oranges in one sitting, but you'll drink them in 5 minutes without thinking twice. A large study published in the journal Stroke, one of the most respected publications in the field, found that consumption of sugary beverages, including fruit juices, was associated with a higher risk of stroke, particularly ischemic stroke, which is the most common type, caused by a blood clot blocking blood flow to the brain. Another study from the Harvard Th Chan School of Public Health followed over 100,000 adults and found that each additional daily serving of fruit juice was associated with an increased risk of cardiovascular disease. Many seniors drink juice every single morning believing they're getting a serving of fruit and doing something good for their body. And I'm not saying you can never have juice. But if you're drinking a large glass every morning, you're flooding your system with sugar that spikes your blood sugar, contributes to weight gain, increases inflammation, and over time, raises your stroke risk. The better choice? Eat the whole fruit. You get all the nutrition with the protective fiber your body needs to process it properly. This next one is critically important, and many seniors ignore it completely. Supplements, vitamins, herbal remedies. Now, I know that many of you take supplements because you want to fill nutritional gaps and stay healthy. And in some cases, that's perfectly reasonable. A vitamin D supplement, if your levels are low, for example, is well supported by science. But here's where it gets dangerous. Many seniors are taking handfuls of supplements every day without realizing that some of those supplements can significantly increase their stroke risk, especially when combined with certain medications. Let's start with vitamin E. For years, vitamin E was promoted as a heart-healthy antioxidant. But multiple large-scale studies, including a major meta-analysis published in the Annals of Internal Medicine, found that high-dose vitamin E supplementation actually increased the risk of hemorrhagic stroke, the type of stroke caused by bleeding in the brain. Vitamin E has blood-thinning properties, and in high doses, it can interfere with normal blood clotting. Now let's talk about calcium supplements. Many seniors, especially women, take calcium supplements for bone health. But a study published in the journal Heart found that calcium supplements, not calcium from food, but from supplements, were associated with a significantly increased risk of cardiovascular events, including stroke. The theory is that large doses of supplemental calcium can cause calcium to deposit in your artery walls, stiffening them and promoting plaque formation. And here's one that's particularly dangerous. If you're taking a blood thinner like warfarin, also known by the brand name Coumadin, you need to be extremely careful with vitamin K. Many seniors start eating large quantities of leafy greens like kale, spinach, and broccoli because they hear these are superfoods, and they are nutritious. But vitamin K directly counteracts the effect of warfarin. If you suddenly increase your vitamin K intake dramatically, you can make your blood thinner less effective, increasing your risk of a blood clot and, consequently, a stroke. This doesn't mean you should avoid leafy greens. It means you need to be consistent with your intake, and you absolutely must communicate with your doctor about what you're eating and what supplements you're taking. If you're over 60 or caring for an elderly loved one, this information could genuinely be life-saving. Please keep watching because there's more you need to know. And if you're finding this helpful, take a moment to hit that subscribe button. We release videos like this every week to help you and your loved ones stay safe and healthy. Speaking of dangerous food and medication interactions, we need to talk about grapefruit. Grapefruit is a nutritious fruit. It's loaded with vitamin C and antioxidants, but it contains compounds called furanocoumarins that interfere with an enzyme in your gut and liver responsible for breaking down many common medications. If you're taking statins for cholesterol, certain blood pressure medications, or various heart medications, grapefruit and grapefruit juice can cause dangerously high levels of those drugs to build up in your bloodstream. And this isn't a minor interaction. The FDA has issued specific warnings about it. With some medications, a single glass of grapefruit juice can increase drug levels in your blood by 200 to 300%. This can cause severe drops in blood pressure, muscle breakdown from statin overload, and irregular heart rhythms, all of which increase stroke risk. Many seniors have no idea about this interaction. They eat grapefruit every morning, take their medications, and never connect the two. If you take any prescription medications, please ask your pharmacist specifically whether grapefruit is safe for you. This is a simple conversation that could prevent a catastrophe. Now, let's discuss something that millions of Americans consume daily thinking it's a healthy alternative: artificial sweeteners. You cut out sugar. Wonderful. But you replaced it with diet sodas, sugar-free coffee creamers, and packets of artificial sweetener. You thought you were making a smart trade, but research is telling us a different story. A major study from the American Heart Association and the American Stroke Association, published in the journal Stroke in 2017, followed nearly 3,000 adults over age 45. The results were startling. People who drank diet soda daily were nearly 3 times more likely to develop stroke and dementia compared to those who didn't consume diet beverages. Now, I want to be fair. This was an observational study, meaning it showed an association, not definitive proof that artificial sweeteners directly cause stroke. More research is needed, but the signal is strong enough that many experts now recommend caution. The possible mechanisms are still being studied, but researchers believe artificial sweeteners may alter gut bacteria in harmful ways, increase inflammation, and paradoxically worsen insulin resistance, the very problems they were supposed to help avoid. The takeaway here? If you're going to reduce sugar, which is a good idea, consider using natural alternatives in moderation, like small amounts of honey or simply retraining your taste buds to enjoy less sweetness. Water with a slice of lemon or cucumber is a far better daily beverage than any diet soda. Let me address something that's becoming increasingly popular, even among older adults: extreme or highly restrictive diets. Whether it's extreme low carb, prolonged fasting, extremely restrictive vegan diets without proper supplementation, or trendy elimination diets, going to extremes with your eating can create nutrient deficiencies that directly increase stroke risk. For example, a large study published in the British Medical Journal in 2019 analyzed data from over 48,000 participants and found that while vegetarians and vegans had a lower risk of heart disease compared to meat eaters, they had a 20% higher risk of stroke. The researchers suggested this might be related to lower levels of certain nutrients, including vitamin B12, which plays a critical role in neurological health and blood cell formation. This does not mean vegetarian or vegan diets are bad. It means they need to be properly planned to avoid deficiencies that can have serious consequences. Similarly, very low-carb diets can lead to dehydration, especially in seniors who are already at higher risk for dehydration. Dehydration thickens the blood, making clots more likely. If you're following a low-carb or ketogenic diet without adequate fluid intake, you could be unknowingly increasing your stroke risk. The most protective diet for stroke prevention, according to the largest body of evidence, is the Mediterranean diet or the MIND diet. These emphasize whole grains, fruits, and vegetables, lean proteins, especially fish, healthy fats from olive oil and nuts, and moderate portions. They're not extreme. They're balanced. And decades of research support their benefits for brain and heart health. All right, so now you might be feeling a little overwhelmed. You might be thinking, so what am I supposed to eat? Don't worry. Let me simplify this with practical steps you can start today. Number 1. Read your nutrition labels carefully. Pay special attention to sodium, added sugars, and serving sizes. Don't trust the front of the package. The truth is in the small print on the back. Number 2. Eat whole, unprocessed foods as much as possible. The closer a food is to how it looked when it came from the ground, a tree, or the ocean, the better it usually is for you. Number 3. Talk to your doctor and pharmacist about every supplement you take and every significant dietary change you make. This is especially important if you're on blood thinners, blood pressure medications, or cholesterol-lowering drugs. Number 4. Drink plenty of water. Proper hydration keeps your blood flowing smoothly and reduces clot risk. Aim for 6 to 8 glasses a day unless your doctor has given you different instructions due to a heart or kidney condition. Number 5. Choose whole fruits over fruit juices. You get the nutrition without the sugar bomb. Number 6. Don't fear healthy fats. Olive oil, avocados, nuts, seeds, and fatty fish like salmon are some of the most stroke-protective foods on the planet. Number 7. Be consistent. If you eat foods rich in vitamin K, don't suddenly stop or dramatically increase your intake. Consistency helps your medications work properly. Number 8. Know the signs of stroke. Remember the acronym FAST. F for face drooping. A for arm weakness. S for speech difficulty. T for time to call 911. Every minute matters during a stroke. The faster you get treatment, the better the outcome. Now, I want to pause here and speak directly to you for a moment. If you've been eating some of these foods or following some of these dietary patterns we've talked about, please don't panic. Knowledge is power, not punishment. The fact that you're watching this video right now means you care about your health, and that puts you ahead of so many others. The human body is remarkably resilient, even at age 60, 70, 80, and beyond. Making changes today, even small ones, can have a meaningful impact on your health tomorrow. Studies have shown that dietary improvements can begin lowering blood pressure and reducing inflammation within just weeks. You're not too old to benefit from better choices. That is a myth I want to shatter right now. Every healthy meal you eat is an investment in your future. So let's bring it all together. Your diet matters enormously when it comes to stroke prevention. But not all foods that are marketed as healthy truly are. Low-fat products loaded with sugar, sodium-packed canned goods and bread, excessive fruit juice, high-dose supplements, grapefruit interactions with medications, artificial sweeteners, and extreme restrictive diets can all, in their own ways, quietly increase your stroke risk. The solution isn't complicated. Eat real, whole foods. Read labels. Stay hydrated. Communicate with your healthcare team. Be consistent. And focus on balanced, evidence-based dietary patterns like the Mediterranean or Mind diet. You have more control over your stroke risk than you might think. And that is incredibly empowering. I want you to do something for me right now. Think of one change from this video that you can make starting today. Just one. Maybe it's swapping your morning juice for a whole orange. Maybe it's checking the sodium on your favorite soup. Maybe it's having a conversation with your doctor about that handful of supplements you take every morning. One change. That's all it takes to start. If this video helped you see your diet in a new way, please hit that like button. It helps more seniors and their families find this information, and it truly does make a difference. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. We post new senior health videos every week, covering the topics that matter most to you and the people you love. Share this video with a family member, a friend, a neighbor, anyone over 60 who you care about. You might be sharing information they've never heard before, and that simple act of sharing could literally help prevent a stroke. And finally, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Were you surprised by anything in this video? Are you going to make any changes to your diet? Drop a comment below. I read them, and this community we're building here is full of people just like you, looking out for each other. Thank you for watching. Thank you for caring about your health. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourself. You deserve it.